Well, hello again, Steve here, and today I wanted to do something that I really don't like to do, but I feel compelled to do it, which is I hate to say to anybody, "I told you so," because it's like, yeah, hindsight's 2020, and whatever, right? But it's interesting because a couple of days ago, I'm going to say it anyway. A couple of days ago, I wrote in my notebook here before things went down. I wrote this as a topic: Trump dash dude, you have to act dash Twitter. And this was as a result of Twitter coming up with a fact check, basically censor of Trump's tweet, of one of his tweets. And my understanding of it is that under US law, whatever the president says in the public square cannot be tampered with. It cannot not be deleted. It cannot be altered. The minute Twitter messed with it, they were in egregious violation of this. But they did it. For whatever reason they did it, I'm going to hope to make the case that this may be just a provocation to see what he's made of, but it may be just that they're so drunk on Trump derangement syndrome that they just thought they could get away with it. I don't know, but I'm going to make the case for something here that hopefully helps us in our Inner Genie project, because whenever we see somebody doing something or something going on in the world, there's something we can learn for ourselves in there. And to make the case of this, I'm going to bring up a few lines from an old song that many of you will be familiar with. It's a song by Kenny Rogers. It was called The Gambler. And there was a line in it that went something like this: you have to know when to fold 'em, know when to hold 'em, or the opposite, I'm not sure. Know when to walk away and know when to run. So it's all about when you're gambling and the stakes are high, you have to know when to act and act decisively. And this, of course, we don't always know, but we have to make the best judgment of it. And I think there's a case to be made for this, that when we act, when we make a decision, we might as well go for it and only alter course when we see that it's not working or we're heading in the wrong direction, but act decisively. And I've said this before, a lot of people think that Trump is this big bully. I mean, he puts on this persona in his, in what was The Apprentice and whatnot, you're fired and whatnot, right? But we got to understand he's an actor. I mean, he has been in show business for many, many years with, WrestleMania and pageantry and all this sort of stuff. And he had one of the most popular reality shows for years, The Apprentice, right? So he is basically an actor in so many ways. So he puts on a show, but he is somebody who gets stuff done. And his fundamental, I've said it before, the fundamental of his way of acting comes out of the power of positive thinking. And people think I'm nuts when I say this because they don't see Trump as a positive guy. But what I mean by positive is not always just being yes man to everybody, but seeing things as I can do, right? He's very much, people think that he's a big liar, but what he's doing is he's doing what he's been taught through the power of positive thinking, which is speak in affirmation. Speak as though it's already done. Speak your wishes. They don't always come true. So if somebody says, I'm going to do this, or I see this, but it's not, some people are going to say that's a lie. The other person is, they're seeing what they want to see. That's what an affirmation is. I see myself as a millionaire. You see, anybody who's been in the positive thinking realm for years, we used to be taught to put a dream chart on the refrigerator of all the things: a dream wife, dream car, house, all this sort of stuff. And one person could say, well, that's a lie. You're just making that shit up. But the other person will say, no, that's an affirmation. You're affirming what it is that you want. So this is, I think, why Trump comes across very often as extremely conciliatory, because he's trying to make inroads. But at a certain point, about the gambler thing, you have to know when to alter course. And Trump said it before, look, he's nice to people until he realizes he can't be. It's like when he was first interviewed, or first or second debate, when he was running for president, and somebody asked him, don't you say that women are all a bunch of slobs or whatever, and he's like, just so categorical. Only Rosie O'Donnell. Because Rosie O'Donnell was a person who pissed him off enough and was enough of a slob to him for so many years. He had had it with her, so he wasn't going to take it anymore, right? This is sort of the nature to say, okay, well, I'm going to go on this trajectory of being nice until I realize that's not getting me anything. So to hell with it, throw it out, right? So if you look at what's happened to him, what has gone after the guy is a go-getter, a doer in the world, right? And the deep state, when they found out that he was going to run for president, they all went to war with him. So not only was he trying to get stuff done, he was always having to fight the flank battles of the deep state coming after him. I'm just going to name a few things, a few major things that were thrown at him in the course of things. And you'll notice that every time the deep state failed to derail him, once the failure was in, they completely switched course and they were on to the next thing. It's almost like they had it prepared. They had the script already prepared. So if you look at the initial time that when he first walked down the stairs and he went into his campaign and what have you, there was the whole Hillary Clinton thing going on, right? And the WikiLeaks exposing what Hillary Clinton was doing and her treason and so on, and later on the Bush and Clinton sponsored dossier, Steele dossier, which turned into the reason for the FISA search warrants and all the spying that went on. When Obama was involved, this has been found out now. He was overly conciliatory. I mean, he said that he would, throw Hillary Clinton in jail and so on, but he was, generally speaking, he would speak nicely about people. But person after person after person on his flanks, sort of his periphery guard, if you will, were taken out, or people were sent after him as in accusations. Women in particular for sexual improprieties. One of those, of course, was this, what's her name, this hooker, stripper or whatever, Stormy Daniels, who was, paid, basically. I mean, she was paid well, $100,000 for her services or what have you. And of course, if he was a Clinton, that would be no big deal, right? I mean, he had an unpaid worker giving him a blowjob, and that was supposed to be fine by the mainstream media. But the minute Trump pays a hooker $100,000 to give him whatever he needed, that's of course the reason to get rid of him. But you see the double standard here, right? And of course, there was they tried the same thing against Kavanaugh, and it was a complete phony. There was never any support for that. This woman was not able to whatsoever prove anything, and all the people who were supposed to have witnessed it, they either denied having any knowledge of it, or they said it wasn't true. So, and all of that, right? Then of course there was the whole impeachment thing, which anybody of a thinking mind realized there was nothing to it, but they tried anyways. They pushed it as far as they could, and the minute it failed, you notice the minute that failed, that whole Russian conspiracy theory completely fell apart. As soon as that failed, they were immediately on to the next thing, which was coronavirus. Now, whether some people, conspiracy theorists, right, in quotation marks, they will say that maybe this was a planted thing to get rid of Trump or whatever. But no matter what, who knows what it is, but they certainly used it. I mean, at first they called him a racist for closing down the borders. Now they're talking about he didn't act fast enough and blah, 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 blah. But as soon as that failed, then what are they on to now? The boogaloo, right? And the whole place is burning. And of course, he's going to get blamed for that. But at the very same time that this seemed to be happening, you'll notice that Twitter pulled out the stops and censored him. And that is when he had to know when to fold it, when to fold up the nice stuff. And now he's declared an executive order, and he's about to, who knows what'll come of this. But no more playing nice guy, right? Because he's got the clear evidence. All these other things, the impeachment and all that, maybe they had something. You never know, right? Like he knew that he was clear, but maybe they made something up. Kavanaugh, maybe he did. Who knows? You got to let it play out. The whole General Flynn, maybe he did do something wrong, and all of this sort of stuff that went on. The Bush dossier. He knew that he didn't get pissed on by hookers in Moscow, but maybe they had something else. Maybe they cooked something up. But the Twitter thing was it was a final straw for one thing, but it was also really clear cut. Here was something the president said in the public square, and they messed with it. And that, he could not stand back anymore. He acted. So we can learn from this, I think, because we in our lives, in our decision making, in our relationships, in our business decisions, and so on, sometimes we realize we're off course here. We've got to the end of the line of trying this. We got to change course. We got to take action in a different direction. So I think there's a big thing that we can learn here. And, you know, that's, I mean, I hate to use, you know, a political example of this, but sometimes you have to use stuff, you know, I have to use stuff that's in the public consciousness, otherwise people won't even click on this. So that's why. Steve here, again, great chatting. If you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.